welcome back to my channel. My name is Elina Boyd, if you haven't been here before. I have lived with ankylosing spondylitis for about a decade now, and I talk a lot about that stuff here on my channel. So hit subscribe if you haven't already, and of course like this video if you do like it, and also give me a follow on Instagram. Elina from Sweden is my handle over there. So I'm very glad you're here, and today I wanted to talk to you about it hurts when I work out. So this is something that is very, very common with ankylosing spondylitis, and it's something that I go through myself a lot as well. So I figured I should do a video about it because as I'm speaking to you here, I'm actually sitting with a heating pad on my back because I hurt my back working out yesterday. I don't know from what, it just, life with AS, that's how it is. All of a sudden you're just, you're doing fine, and then one day it's just like you're not doing fine anymore. So I felt compelled today to make this video because this just happened. So I also want to mention that I am not a doctor and I have no medical background. This is just me talking about what has worked for me, what kind of doesn't work, my experience with ankylosing spondylitis over these past 10 plus years that I've lived with the condition. For today, I wanted to give you kind of 5 tips for how to deal with the pain that comes with working out. And it's when I say pain, obviously you have to is it like super intense sharp pain, or is it just like extremely physically uncomfortable for you to work out, right? So I don't want you to ever push through pain, but I also want you to know that when you have AS, it's normal for it to be uncomfortable when you work out, and it doesn't always feel maybe that great, and you can also be extra sore after, almost feel like you're injured, but then if you just rest 2 days it'll go away, so anyway, I wanted to share my experience on this topic, and hopefully it can help you as well. So for me personally, I get a lot of pain because I get very nervous when I move my body, because my body is so used to getting injured and being in pain, and so working out sometimes triggers that pain response in my brain and my nervous system, right? It doesn't mean that I'm actually injured or gonna get injured, but it's just my body's way of telling me that it's feeling a little overwhelmed, if that makes sense. And so the first tip that I want to give you if you struggle with working out and if you have a lot of pain and stuff is to work progressively. So what that means is basically just ease into it. And depending on your athletic background, of course, this is going to look different for everyone. But let's say that you don't move at all and you're completely sedentary and you want to get into running. Don't go and run a 5K right away, right? You have to start with walking. So if you're completely sedentary, get your body used to walking. So do, I don't know, a 20-minute walk five days a week or something for a couple of weeks. And then from there, you can do a 30-minute walk, a 40-minute walk, and so forth. And then from there, you can then build up to, you run for 30 seconds, you walk for 2 minutes. You run for 30 seconds, you walk for 2 minutes. You really build up that way. And now there are tons of different programs online that you can do, like running programs and, walk to run and all that kind of stuff. So maybe find one that you resonate with and try that if you need some help. There are also tons of apps. I don't know any of the running apps. I use Peloton myself, but yeah, I'm sure there are tons of apps and stuff. So just do some research there, or just do it on your own and time yourself and see what feels good for your body. But the same thing if you're starting to lift weights. Like, don't go and deadlift 200 pounds the first thing you do, right? Like, start with light weights, 5, 10, 15 pounds, whatever that means for you, right? And just get your body used to the movement. Maybe start with 2 sets of 15, and then you can build up to 3 sets of 10, and then you can build up to like 5 sets of 8, and then you would have really heavy weight, right? But start off really small, light weights, high reps, and just getting your body used to it is gonna be so helpful. And so that goes for anything you wanna get into, yoga, Pilates, anything. Just start small and kind of work your way up. That would be like my number one recommendation, because I've done this mistake many times, even with stretching, something as seemingly simple as stretching, I go and I just like stretch my hamstring for 5 minutes really intensely, and then I basically tear my hamstring, right? It's not very productive to work that way. You have to work your way up to it. Hold the stretch for 20 seconds, you know, and then do that for a week, and then the next week hold it for maybe 40 seconds, and then from there start doing multiple sets or whatever. But you get the idea. Just work progressively. My second tip is this, on that same line, is even if you are used to working out, if you take a couple of days off or even a week off, whatever, maybe you've been sick, maybe you traveled or super busy with work or what have you, ease back into it. Just take it really easy the first and second day of getting back into working out, because if you have AS, right, your body, I feel like, at least for me, again, this is just my personal experience, hopefully it can help you too, so I'm just sharing. If it doesn't relate to you, if you don't feel the same, fine. If you do, great. But for me, if I don't work out for a couple of days and I go back into it, it's like my nervous system and my brain need to be, like, I need to really nurture my body and like almost think of it as a, I don't know, like as a puppy or as a baby or something. Like, just, you know, ease into it. Don't overwhelm it too much, because our bodies deal with so much, with all this inflammation and the pain and it's a lot for our nervous system, because it creates a lot of stress, right? When you live with this chronic pain day in and day out, and you wake up and you can barely get out of bed, and like, I know that feeling. And if you try to go and do a really crazy workout with your body not being fully prepped for it, it's gonna be unnecessarily difficult and cause unnecessary pain, if that makes sense. So, tip number 3 is warm up properly. So this, I cannot tell you how important this is, especially when you're first starting out. So now I've been doing, so I'm into like weightlifting, I do Pilates, I do hand balancing, and I'm trying to do some acrobatics. When I started that journey about 2 years ago, I had to warm up for almost an hour beforehand, like almost a whole hour. And now I can get away with like a 10-minute warm up, but it takes a long time to get there. And so in the beginning, don't get discouraged if your body needs like a whole hour of warming up. Maybe that's extreme, but like you might need a 30-minute warm up, and that's okay. You might have to foam roll and stretch and do mobility work and do some, you know, core activation and I don't know, ankle rolls and wrist rolls, like all these things, and that's okay. Give your body the appropriate warm up that it needs. So don't start working out until you feel fully warm. That's gonna really help you to work out with less pain, and also it's gonna minimize your risk of injury. So that's very, very important. So take your time to warm up. Number 4 is take the appropriate amount of rest for your body. So this looks different for everybody. Some people need tons of rest, some people don't need as much. For me personally, I need quite a lot of rest. I need at least probably 2 full days off every week where I don't do anything. And I still foam roll, I still do some gentle stretching, I might take a walk, but I don't lift weights, I don't balance with my hands, I don't do any crazy flexibility stuff, I don't, you know, ride the Peloton or do anything like that. So make sure that you take the proper rest, and also that you do some self-care on those rest days. So foam rolling, if you have a massage gun like the Theragun, use that. If you have a bathtub, do a hot Epsom salt bath. Maybe take a little walk or like do some gentle stretching, whatever it might be. Just make sure that you focus on recovery and taking care of your body. Of course, drink a lot of water. So I drink 1 gallon of water a day. I try. Sometimes I only hit half a gallon, but that's okay. Eat nutritious foods, eat a lot of protein, a lot of vegetables, all that good stuff. All right, and then for my next tip, make sure that you work both strength and flexibility. And sometimes, so these are kind of 2 points in one, but sometimes you have to get creative. So I have a lot of issues in all my joints. I have issues with my left foot. I have issues with my right knee, my right hip, the right side of my back, my low back, my neck, my left wrist, my left index finger even. My right shoulder, my right elbow has some issues. So I have to be very, very creative depending on the day. And so for me personally, I don't follow like a workout schedule because it doesn't work. Because every day I wake up and I have no idea how I'm gonna feel. And so if I have a schedule, it's gonna get thrown off. I've tried it before and it doesn't work, because if I have, it says I'm gonna do legs, but then my hip is hurting, I can't do legs. Okay, well then it like makes me feel really discouraged, first of all, and then also it just kind of throws everything off. So I approach it with, I wake up, I see what feels good in my body, and then that's how I decide what I'm going to work on. And so you have to sometimes be a little creative. So I would recommend trying tons of different movement modalities, try tons of different teachers, go to physical therapy, find exercises in different, like, I don't know, you basically build up your library of exercises, because it'll help you tremendously to stay active even on days where, let's say that my right knee is all swollen and inflamed. Okay, I'm not gonna ride the Peloton that day. I'm not gonna do a leg day. I'm not gonna take a walk. But what I can do is I can do stuff laying on my back. I can do upper body stuff. If I have a gym, I can go and do like a back workout and a shoulder workout, right? So there's always things you can do depending on which body part is feeling okay. Now it can be really challenging if you have like, okay, your left foot and your right shoulder, and some days it might just be better to like, okay, take the day off, do some foam rolling, take a bath, whatever, and let it be and see if you feel better the next day. But if it's one body part, then see if there's a creative way that you can work a different body part, right? And what I like to do, especially if my back is hurting. So right now I have this heating pad on my back and my back is really, really painful. I was gonna go for a walk, but I don't think I can tolerate that. So what I did this morning was I did a little ab workout, just a quick 10-minute thing laying on my back. So when my back hurts, I can do stuff on my back, right? It doesn't bother it very much. And so just finding ways, like I have this little 10-minute core workout in my arsenal and I can just pull it out when I need it, right? Like even doing like glute work on my back today doesn't work because my back is really, it doesn't want to get moved very much, but I was able to do a little bit of core work. So just getting really creative and like building up your repertoire of exercises so you have like a big library to choose from. So the next time your knee is hurting or your wrist is hurting or your hip is hurting or your neck is hurting, whatever is hurting, you have tons of options that you can kind of, okay, but I can still do this and I can still do that or whatever. And also strength and flexibility is really important. So if you only work flexibility, you might get injured. You might have muscle tears. You might get, your joints get irritated. I have this issue a lot because I'm naturally pretty weak and I don't have a lot of muscle mass. And so when I try to stretch too much and not do enough strength, all I'm stretching is my joints basically, and that's not a good thing. Same thing, if you're only doing strength, then you're gonna get tight, and so if you don't stretch and you don't do flexibility, you'll just get tighter and tighter and tighter, and then you're gonna get really uncomfortable, and then even the lifting weights or doing the strength stuff is gonna be hard because you don't have the mobility to support the weight, support the move. For example, with squats, if you have really tight hips and then you load up a squat and you do it with bad form, that's gonna go into your low back, right? So you have to always work on strength and flexibility together. It's really, really important. So yeah. And then last but not least, I also just wanna encourage you. Injuries are very common. Now, not to say that it's normal and that we should, embrace injuries per se, but so my husband is an avid athlete, always has been. He has no issues, no health issues. He's super healthy, but he gets injured. He injures his shoulder, he injures his back. Like, it's just part of being an athlete and putting your body through these challenging things, right? But the thing is, I would rather get injured lifting a heavy weight or doing something that I love, like standing on my hands or something like that, versus getting injured trying to tie my shoes, you know? And you're gonna get injured regardless. That's just part of life. Like you twist an ankle, whatever, things happen, right? But I don't know, to me, it's better to get injured working out than getting injured from being so weak and in such bad shape that you get injured from everyday things just because your body can't handle it, right? So I'd rather be strong and flexible and accidentally have an injury versus being just, you know, weak and stiff and getting injured because I'm weak and stiff, if that makes sense. So if you get injured, like yesterday, I had a minor injury or something happened and my back really hurts today, but that's okay. So I take today off. I might take tomorrow off as well, and I rest and I foam roll. I use Tiger Balm, the heating pad, all the things, and then I get back into it gently. I'm gonna ease into it as per my point number 2. And yeah, so I hope that's helpful. I just wanted to kind of talk about this because I feel like I get a lot of messages from people about how, you know, it's really hard for them to work out because they have all this pain and it hurts and all this stuff. And like, it hurts for me too. But it's just, you have to find ways to move through the pain. And even if like obviously if your knee is all inflamed and swollen, don't do stuff with your knee. Let that rest, but do other things because your body needs to keep moving. So I hope that's helpful. I hope this all makes sense. As always, let me know if you have any questions. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if this was helpful, and please connect with me on Instagram. I love hearing from you there. Elina from Sweden, and yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye.